The new 7-star Tera Raid has just been announced, and it is going to be a Flying Type Decidueye. Now I'm personally very excited about this because I think this one might be one of the easier ones we've gotten so far, and that's because Decidueye doesn't really have that much coverage. Since this is going to be a Flying Type Terra Raid, you're going to want to go with Rock, Electric, and Ice types. Now obviously Rock is out of the question because Decidueye does have Grass type moves and you want to avoid taking that super effective hit, but that leaves Electric and Ice, and I think Scarlet and Violet has a bunch of really good Electric and Ice type Pokemons that you can use, and you can probably do this raid very well. Because like I said, Decidueye doesn't really learn ground type moves or anything that can really hit an Electric type or an Ice type super effectively. If anything, most of these Pokemon will resist Grass and probably Ghost as well. Now I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but I think that compared to like Greninja and Charizard and Cinderace, this one might actually be a tad easier just because you can actually have more Pokemon that are like extremely viable. Now before we get into that, let's talk about some potential moves. So in terms of moves, we might see different things. Decidueye is a Pokemon that has physical attack and special attack are like very similar. So we could see a physical or maybe even a special Decidueye, or we can even see like a mix. That would be very interesting and could kind of like be a little bit more difficult to deal with. But overall, I really don't see this as like an issue. So for some moves, Decidueye is probably going to have something like a Leaf Storm or a Leaf Blade or maybe even a Giga Drain. You'll most likely have a Ghost type moves as well, so there's always like Spirit Shackle, there's potentially like Phantom Force, and like maybe even like a Shadow Ball. Since it is a Flying Type Terra Raid, it's most likely going to have either Brave Bird or Hurricane. And then for the last move, it could really be anything, really. Decidueye does get access to both Nasty Plot and Sword Stance, so depending on, which Decidueye we see, he might have like, one of those. And then you could also have a Dark type move in there, Sucker Punch or Knockoff, I think would be really interesting choice. And then if they want to make it really annoying, they could even give it something like a Confuse Ray or maybe even a Roost. Now that might be very annoying to deal with. But overall, I think, Decidueye doesn't really have the move pool to really be that big of a threat. With that being said, let's take a look at some Pokemon that I think are going to be very viable. So first and foremost, I think this one might just be the one, and that is Iron Hands. Now Iron Hands not only has really high attack, it also gets access to Belly Drum, Stab Electric moves in the form of both Thunder Punch and Wild Charge, and also doesn't suffer any super effective hits against potentially any of Decidueye's moves. So I honestly think that Iron Hands is most likely going to be the Pokemon that everyone is going to run in this Terra Raid, and I think that's probably the smartest choice. So if you have an Iron Hands, I don't see why not. There might be some options that are a little bit better depending on, the potential moveset that Decidueye has, but overall I don't see anything better than a Belly Drum Thunder Punch max attack Iron Hands. Like, I think that's going to be the one. So yeah, for the rest of the moveset, I would probably go with a Resto Chesto Iron Hands build because, you are going to Belly Drum, so you are going to lose a lot of HP, and Iron Hands doesn't really have that much like special defense. So if it is a special attacking Decidueye, you might not be able to survive like more than 2 hits with that kind of HP. But, that could be the main thing. You set up your Belly Drum, you go for a Thunder Punch or a Wild Charge, and then once your HP starts getting low, you rest, you're back to full HP, and you still have like all your stat boosts, and then you can continue just hitting the Decidueye as hard as you can. And honestly, with a couple of Iron Hands, Belly Drumming, and Thunder Punching, I don't really see this thing surviving for, very long. So, yeah. But there are other choices as well. Another one is Miraidon. You can set up the Electric Terrain that will boost your special attack. You can also get access to, Electro Drift, which is going to do a lot of damage. And if you want, you can even run like a Calm Mindset, Miraidon has really high special defense, like as it is already. So if it is a special Decidueye, after a Calm Mind, I don't think there's anything that Decidueye can really do to like do major damage. So yeah, that's also a really good choice. Or you can scrap the magnet or whatever item you want to go for, scrap the Calm Mind, throw in some choice specs, and just literally spam Electro Drift. I think that's also a very viable option. So yeah, get your Miraidons ready. But if for some reason you are a player that doesn't have either Iron Hands or Miraidon because, I don't know, like maybe you are a Scarlet player or you haven't really, had the chance to capture any of these Pokemon yet, there are some other options as well that aren't that difficult to get. First off is the Chien-Pao. So Chien-Pao is also a really strong Pokemon, especially because of its ability, Sword of Ruin, which will reduce the defense of, the Pokemon that you are attacking. That will really help. Decidueye is not a very bulky Pokemon to start, so being able to further reduce its defense is going to be great for like basically your whole team. Chien-Pao is a really strong Pokemon. It gets access to Sword Stance. You also have your Icicle Crash and your Ice Fang, and that stab, 120 base attack, that is going to hurt. So yeah, that's also a very viable Pokemon. The only downside is like, your base like defenses and HP are a little bit lower than the other Pokemon, so you might not be able to, take as many hits. But with this much attack, after a Sword Stance or two, you should be able to just sweep this Decidueye like absolutely no problem. So Chien-Pao is also a Pokemon that you should definitely consider. And last but not least, it's Baxcalibur. So Baxcalibur is also a Pokemon that I think is going to be amazing in this raid. Its typing Dragon and Ice make it pretty much like super resistance against anything that Decidueye can throw at you. You have a very high if you max out your HP, you get like over 400 base HP, which is insane. And also with 145 base special attack, if you go with an Adamant Nature, you are going to be hitting like a truck. Now what I love about Baxcalibur is that he gets access to both dances, so you can either run Dragon Dance or Sword Stance. I would most likely run Sword Stance because speed is not necessarily like that important in like Tera Raid. So yeah, Sword Stance, and again, you're just gonna Icicle Crash, you're gonna Icicle Spear. You have your like Never Melt Ice, that's what I would go with, just because like you want to boost your ice moves as much as possible. But you can also go with like a Life Orb, or if you don't feel like running any of the dances, just slap a Choice Band on Baxcalibur and you will be hitting very hard. But obviously there are more Pokemon. There's a bunch of electric and ice type Pokemon that can be very viable. So if I haven't mentioned one that you think might be very good, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what other theories people are considering. So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.